1.
Sorry. That was bad.
No, we did.
But
okay.
it didn't hurt my name.
Should we redo it?
We could redo it.
Okay.
Oh, that's interesting. Well, we're back.
Good stuff.
We're back.
Yep, back at it. After
in video this time, the little vid. And
hopefully it works.
Yeah.
You know,
it's an on and off thing that we have every week, and you never know what you're gonna get every week. We keep you on your toes, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So, how you doing, Riley?
I'm doing good. How you doing, Regan?
I'm doing well. Doing well. I'm doing really well.
I'm gonna say you look great. Last week, not being able to see you, was awful.
You didn't see me. Wait.
Because we didn't have the video working.
You dog, you. You dog. You got me.
I got you.
You got me
Yes.
pretty well. All right.
Well, Regan, we've got kind of an interesting week here. One that favors your point of view.
Yes,
So,
it does. The week before it favored you, and I'll tell you what.
Actually, most of the weeks before favored me.
I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that at all.
And let's not say favor. Favoring me isn't the right word, but favors my opinion of the Vikings. Because the Vikings being bad hurts me just as much as it does any Vikings fan.
Right.
All right.
Right.
I've had don't think for a second that I haven't had sleepless nights, pillows soaked with tears, and
Hugs with the wife that she had to comfort you.
therapy sessions due to the Vikings.
Yeah.
But I just dealt with it all right off the bat. After the first 2 games, I was like,
This is it.
all right, give it up. But I went through a season's worth of pain in those 2 weeks. And so after that, now I'm kind of, yes, I would love the Vikings to do well, but I just don't. I'm pretty adamant that we're not in it this year. But obviously, you've got a different opinion, and this week certainly.
Yes, it did. And I
helps
think
that
it's not just reiterate that the Vikings aren't that bad. But it also reiterates my point the other episode about Dalvin Cook and how important Dalvin Cook is to this franchise.
True. He is our bread and butter. He is our everything on offense.
But
just like Adrian Peterson was.
Mm-hmm. But I will
What
have to
was
say
our record with Adrian Peterson?
I will have to say this though. I'm not going to. Adrian Peterson. We're gonna play him this weekend, actually.
True.
And we'll see how that goes. The AP 2.0 essentially versus AP. But so this is. I think it does reiterate something that Kirk Cousins is only good when he's not the best player. He is not a franchise quarterback.
Thank you.
He is not going to be that kind of... He's going to be able to make plays.
Yeah.
He'll make plays. But Dalvin Cook, he needs to be the center point, not Kirk Cousins. That's hard, though, because you can't really... I think that's what Minnesota's done in the past with Adrian Peterson. They haven't been able to build on a quarterback because the quarterback, if you don't... You can build a running game or whatever... and we have the passing game. Is just the passing game will open up the run game for us. The run game for some people, like Tom Brady and everything, they can now. It's really playing off of the secondary. A lot of linebackers and secondary people trying to keep them honest to do what they want. But when you can keep them honest, you can basically do what you want with anyone.
Yeah. I didn't follow much of that, but
okay.
I agree that Dalvin Cook is the center point of our offense. I don't, however, think that is a sustainable approach. I don't think a championship caliber team is going to base it. Name the last championship caliber team that
Well, defense builds championships. That's really what it comes down to. But it is a key essential role in.
Sure.
in
But when you don't have a quarterback,
yes,
you can't.
But we are that much closer to having that kind of franchise. I think. I mean, we've had at Dalvin Cook for what?
But here's the
now?
deal. We're in Dalvin Cook's prime right now. Dalvin Cook's not going to get much better than he is right now.
I don't think I ever take. I'm not going to take back
taking that and throwing it down the.
Well, I've said multiple times before. I think this next year we should get rid of Kirk Cousins. I think he should be.
I don't think you've said that multiple times before.
I've said it before. I think I've said it multiple, more than once. So that would mean multiple.
Wow, good definition there. Just throwing out some.
I'm just throwing out some facts. That's all we do.
Good deal.
Here at Dad's. But this is Dalvin Cook. Dalvin Cook, we need to keep him healthy and because that was the thing going into this year. They didn't know if Dalvin Cook could stay healthy. It's the reason why I never drafted him really in any of my fantasy leagues.
Yep.
Because I was so scared he's going to miss at least three or more games. Not considering, at least 3 games due to injuries. And so that's a huge thing for Dalvin Cook. He's got to keep himself healthy. But then for the Vikings, for their whole franchise, we got the players now. We have good receivers. We have, the line is doing good without, the tough guy. What's his name?
Mr. Drew Samia?
Yeah.
No, Ezra Cleveland's doing well. Got a lot of hopes for him, but I got to point some things out. Okay, you're not playing. So we beat the Packers. Okay, obviously that was a big wish of mine. I wanted that more than anything,
and it came true.
So happy, but I actually think that that the Packers could have had that game in several instances. Number one, if they would have had a better receiver than Equanimeous St. Brown, they would have had probably 1 or 2 more touchdowns. Probably would have won that game. If they would have gotten that penalty called against, I think it was Anthony Harris. I can't remember who it was that they threw the flag and then they picked it up at the last second.
Oh, I think I know what you mean, like a PI.
There was a pass interference penalty against us. That
I agree. I think it
should have been a penalty. That's
for sure was a PI.
Alarming to me that they pulled that up. But not complaining necessarily, but I'm saying that Packers get that penalty, they convert that 4th down.
Right.
They probably turn that into a touchdown, probably win that game.
Yeah.
We also got very, very little confidence in our defense. There were. I don't know why they didn't score a touchdown on that last drive. I would, given how our defense has played, I don't know how Aaron Rodgers was not able to expose that.
Right.
Glad that he didn't, but when we gave him that chance, I thought the game was over in favor of the Packers.
So I was thinking the same thing because I was like, you're Aaron Rodgers, and this is a defense.
Stop agreeing with me. You don't even get the point. I'm trying to.
We're trying to get views. No, but I think it's more of I think Aaron Rodgers respected Mike Zimmer enough that he didn't want to, and so that's a thing in college football. That's a huge thing that coaches will do. They're like, okay, we're not gonna do it so hard, and so I think even in the NFL, but But at the same time, it is hard to kind of figure out if he's actually doing that or not. And as a fan,
I've got a conspiracy theory, just based off of Aaron Rodgers' kind of lackadaisical approach to that game. Just didn't seem to really.
I don't think he cared.
Yeah, I don't think he cared much. And he had made the comments earlier about, Zimmer, don't disrespect Zimmer. It's.
Right, and that's
I can't
what I read
believe you think he's. Here's a thought. I think the Packers really did think that Zimmer was on the hot seat. This is a conspiracy theory. I'm going to get that up front.
Conspiracy.
Total conspiracy theory. All of this is pure speculation.
Right.
No facts. All right?
Gosh.
But I think that the Packers really do want Zimmer as head coach. They know he's going to be just good enough to keep his job, but just bad enough where the Packers can keep beating the Vikings for the division title each and every year. So they're in favor of keeping Zimmer on. That would be a smart move. They knew he was on the hot seat this week, and then Rodgers comes out and says, "Oh, how dare you put him on the hot seat? He's he's one of the best coaches," or whatever he said. And then he kind of just kind of doesn't care enough about the game. Maybe makes it close enough so it looks like they gave it their best effort, but then loses the game. And the Vikings are none the wiser. We stick with Zimmer, and the Packers keep beating us year after year. That's my conspiracy theory, is that they're in complete control of this division at all times. We just don't know it.
I mean,
we're just playing their little game.
I mean, that would be a smart move. But I want to say,
elite.
I mean, counter to this, maybe Mike Zimmer is actually just realized, hey, I'm on the hot seat. My butt's on fire, and I need to put it out. So I'm going to put my guys. But I think it's even more interesting with the defense of our cornerback. What's his name?
Cameron Dantzler?
Yeah, he went out, dude. And I don't think it's anything too serious. I think he's coming back.
So I hear.
But, it'll look pretty bad right off the bat. I was really, like, when that happened.
Okay, wait, just slow down here. What does this have to do with Aaron Rodgers, or are we moving on to a totally different subject?
Well, we're just flowing, right?
Oh, yeah.
We're just flowing, okay. We're just flowing, and you were talking about defense, and I had a point, but I allowed you to talk, so you're welcome. I'm being respectful. But you know what? Never mind. Next time we're going to interrupt you and say, screw you. I don't care about you. Anyways.
Wow. All right.
I am raging right now. But no, I think even with the defense, I think with respecting Mike Zimmer enough, and then having one of our better corners come out, or no, he's not. Yeah, he's a corner.
Yeah, he's a corner, defensive back. He's honestly, if I were to pick anyone on our defensive backs to have for the next 5 years, it'd be him.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's a lot of things that he's doing really well, and with Mike Zimmer and his elite defensive mind, he can do a lot.
Yeah.
And he's kind of going to be kind of the next Xavier Rhodes /
See, I kind of view him as a different. I think he's lanky. He's more of a pure coverage DB than Xavier Rhodes, where Xavier was more of like he goes with the big physical guys really well.
Oh, he's not that big physical, but I think he's a lot bigger. I mean, he's what, 6'2", 6'4"?
I don't know. I think like 7-8 feet tall, something like that. No, I'm not talking about size wise, just the type of playing style, where Xavier could kind of try to jam people up the line. Wasn't the fastest guy, but was always in a position to make a play on the ball. I think Cameron Dantzler's maybe more similar to that than not, but I think he's kind of lanky. He can beat you because you don't expect him to be able to get to the ball. I think he's going to have a lot of opportunities because he's the needle. He can get his hands in places that you wouldn't expect him to be able to. He can pull the ball out and make plays that way versus kind of disrupting people's routes. Because I think when Xavier played, if you recall, he would just eliminate targets from people. It wasn't always that he was making a play on the ball. Which he did at times, and he returned a couple.
He was just really
interceptions for touchdowns.
Player.
He was just a really physical player and could get people off of their routes. So he could basically remove one element of a team's offense. He would say, I'm going to take your best player, and I'm going to just make him a non-factor for this game. That's how Xavier Rhodes play. I think Cameron's going to have more chances. I think there's going to be more balls thrown his way than you would with Xavier, but he's going to make those plays. Probably come up. I would make a prediction that he's going to have more interceptions than Xavier Rhodes did.
I think they got to just bulk him up too. At 188 pounds, 6'2", and he's 22, so he's
some of that men's. Can't remember what it's called. Anthro 4000 or whatever. I can't remember whatever.
Oh, gosh. Well, so I mean that's pretty much it. That's the game recap, huh?
That's right.
And I mean now it's into what are you thinking of? Who do you think was first last? The first. Holy smokes!
Nice. First last.
Who would you say kind of took?
Who do you want me to start with? Do you want me to go first? Or do you want me to go last?
Let's start it off with the first.
First favorite player is Ezra Cleveland. I kind of already mentioned that. We threw him in at right guard, I think, in place of the injured Drew Samia. He played pretty well, showed a lot of promise. I think his stat line was perfect. Didn't allow any pressures, any sacks, and was on all of the touchdown runs. Everything was one of the lead blockers.
Yeah.
He made that side of the Packers line look silly. I thought he played really well. I think we should elevate him to left tackle at some point. He's a good player. I think there's some people that were nervous that we got Pat Elflein back, and people were thinking we'd throw him back in the mix, and
no.
No,
I would kind of go on the I just say offensive line. With
that's your favorite player, the entire offensive line.
The offensive line really did their part. This game helped lead Dalvin Cook to some really good. I mean, you can't just give the whole game to Dalvin Cook and say it was Dalvin Cook. I think you can also give credit to the offensive line because your running back is only as good as your lineman. So I think the linemen really came out, showed off their skills, and really elevated their gameplay.
Yeah.
So
I think showcase a little bit of what they're capable of.
Right. And so
at least from a run blocking standpoint, they weren't put in many passing situations because we ran. We only had 14 pass attempts the entire game.
I think it was we ran way more than we had 11 actual receptions, but 34 carries and then 14 attempts.
Yeah, 14 passes.
So. Yeah, for sure. And that's what I'm saying, too, with Kirk Cousins, is that you can't have him throw 25 or more passes in a game.
Yeah.
Because when you put it on him, he's going to throw.
So that's the problem is with depending on a run game to get you and only on a run game is you have if you happen to get down. If a couple things don't go your way in the first or second quarter and you're playing catch-up, that you can't get back.
Look, I think if it's 50-50 with run and pass, I think there for sure could – I think he could I think Kirk Cousins could potentially do all right, decently, a good.
Where are the facts? Do you have any facts to back that up?
Well, he was 11 for 14, so he was what, almost 75?
We just said that's not 50-50 though.
No, it's not. Definitely not. But this is where I'm saying. I mean, this year he's been sucking. So let's look at the previous games, huh? Shall we? But so if we depend, I think you can't depend on a passing game straight up. You can't teeter-totter it. So, like, for a run game and passing game, you can't, I don't think with...
That's how the Packers won their first Super Bowl, or their Super Bowl with Aaron Rodgers. It was almost purely a passing attack. They had,
right, I agree, and I that's where I'm. That's what I'm saying is that you right, and that's the thing is that you can't do that with Kirk Cousins. But if you're doing,
sure.
But if you're going 50-50,
we can't do it with Kirk, but other teams might. But that's so my problem with Kirk. And while you're pulling that up, I'm gonna get to something that I wanted to bring up last week, and I alluded to it, but I never actually got to it. I did a poll of the Vikings fan base. You remember this?
Okay. Yeah.
I polled the Vikings fan base. Okay, so I wasn't able to get to everyone. So if you didn't see it and you're a Vikings fan, don't be alarmed. So I asked the question: for the entire time that Kirk Cousins has been a Viking, how many games would you say he's quote-unquote won for us? And along the same lines, how many games would you say he's quote-unquote lost for us? So I put together all the responses. You want to know what the average was? This is from the Vikings fan base.
This is from Vikings?
The Vikings fan base.
Give me the stats.
So this is just the straight up facts, okay?
Straight facts.
So let me first get this fact out of the way. Kirk Cousins as a starter with the Vikings is 19, 15, and 1. So 19 wins, 15 losses, and 1. So how many of those wins did he actually... the question is, how many of those wins did Kirk Cousins actually win for us by being a solid quarterback? And how many of those 15 losses did he lose for us in terms of his poor play that lost that game for us? They gave one game to him, one game that he's won for us, and 7 that he's lost for us. Wow. So that's some facts. So he's maybe won us one game, but he's lost us 7 along the way. Okay. So if we plugged in any average quarterback, we may have had perhaps maybe not that one less win, but one more win, but probably not as many losses. So those 7 losses could have been different had we not had such an up and down quarterback.
Right. Okay, now to bring it back to we're still on
Kirk
Cousins. But also to kind of go back on that, Kirk Cousins, I think if you're 50-50, if you're even, he'll be all right. And last season, I mean, what would you say? We were kind of a success. Kind of successful.
Yeah,
season.
I mean, we won a playoff game against the Saints.
So I say that's kind of successful. Okay, last season, Kirk Cousins had 60 attempts, and he was 66.7. So he made...
Last season?
Yes, this is last.
He had 60 attempts. 60
attempts.
All of last season. He threw 60 total passes.
The postseason. This is
postseason.
Let's go to regular season. My bad.
Okay. Do the facts still say what you wanted to say?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay. Lay them on me.
So there was 466 attempts.
All right. Sounds more reasonable.
Right. With 319 attempts. So he was 68 and a half. Had a 68 and a half completion percentage.
Okay.
Running attempts, 476.
Okay.
So, I mean, that's pretty even.
Yeah.
Over a season.
But that's...
And so that's...
Where does that compare to the average football team, though? I guess that would be my next question. So, quick, look up that stat. Pull up all the other 32 teams.
Every other... No, I mean, that. But I'm saying is that in that success, I don't think if you give more to him, if you ask more of Kirk, So if we go to
more than 50-50.
More than 50-50, he's not going to do well.
How many completions did he have of those attempts? Because that's maybe what you want to look at.
Out of the 466?
Is that what you said? No, I thought you said 466 rushing attempts.
So 466 attempts he made.
Oh, completions.
No, attempts. He threw.
Okay.
He made 319 completions. So he was 68
half. And then how many rushing attempts?
476 attempts.
Oh, so he's below 50%.
A little below, but it's still in that 50. I mean, it's pretty. You can round up.
Yeah.
I mean, but that's still going to give you the 50-50. And in that, I think, for that.
But that's the problem with that. I mean, we're going to talk about this over and over and over again. It's a problem if there's a difference between being a winning team or a team with talent and a championship caliber team. Everyone should be aspiring not to be a winning team, but to be the championship caliber team.
I agree.
That's what we should be shooting for. And the current roster that we have is not set up to be a championship caliber team, starting with the quarterback.
Quarterback is definitely. I agree, but I don't. But you can't, and that's why I think we need to replace Kirk Cousins, because he cannot be reliable to be like, okay, this game, because I think in some games you have to, lean heavy more on one or the other, on pass.
Well, depending on what your weaknesses are,
right?
You have to be able to.
But you need to be able to do those things, and Kirk Cousins hasn't shown that at all this season,
Nope.
And whatnot. So I think he'll in 50-50, he'll be able to do it. But anything more than that,
no.
I don't think you can give it to him, because he'll struggle. He cannot be dependable.
Yep.
I'm
with you there.
So I think more of this next season, getting rid of Kirk Cousins. And I think defense is doing all right this last week. And I think Mike Zimmer's stepping up more into that role for defense, as before he's kind of stepped more into offense and been calling plays over there.
No.
But now I think he's more getting back into his defense, into his roots. And
I think he should have started the season that way, though.
They
should have already been confident with what Kubiak could do.
Well, so that's the thing. But anyways, so yeah, for me it's the offensive line. Now, worst
player, I've got to say, and so without picking on Kirk Cousins again, I really wanted to.
Yep.
Because I think he definitely proved what we've been saying all along, that he can't put a game on his shoulders and win it. Even winning a game yesterday was, I think, mostly because we didn't try to rely on Kirk Cousins. Anyways, without getting on his case, I've got to say I'm a little frustrated at Adam Thielen. I think he just hasn't produced. He hasn't shown, and this isn't just from last week, just the fact that he only had, 3 receptions for 30 yards, or maybe it was less than that. Maybe only had 5 receptions, or 2 receptions or something like that. What did he have? Give me the facts.
For receptions,
what did Thielen have?
Let me get to the box score here. So he was behind. He
Jefferson.
actually led the receptions.
3?
With 3.
3. Okay, that's what I thought. So 3 receptions. I mean, obviously that doesn't do you any good having a quarterback like Kirk Cousins that we try to.
You can't
try not to give
as a
the ball
receiver.
to
You
him.
can't
I can't fault Thielen for that, but I can fault him for previous weeks where he just hasn't quite made that wow. He's taken a step back, I think is what I'm trying to say. I don't think he's quite playing at the same level that he was last year.
Yeah.
I think maybe defenses are figuring him out a little bit, and he hasn't quite adjusted. Love the guy, but I think he could be playing better. I think I'll leave it as a challenge to Thielen if he's listening, which I know he does every week. He actually sometimes he'll listen to this pregame for the upcoming game. Just to
he sent us emails before.
No, and you're right.
We have to tell you, hey, man, you got to stop.
He supports us on Patreon, $5 a month. It's not much, but it makes a difference. It's the thought that counts. You can do the same. But anyway, I do Thielen. How about you?
I would have to go with the guy on the offense as well. And I think I'm going to say Irv Smith Jr.
Really? As your least favorite?
He showed very good potential in the first half.
Okay.
And then in the second half, he just did.
What happened in the second half?
Blocking.
Really?
That was a huge thing. He only made one reception, and that was in the first half. And it was a good reception, not going to lie. It was good. But then after that, he I wasn't impressed. I wasn't really happy with how he was doing. It wasn't with the blocking schemes, and he wasn't finishing through with some of the blocks. And whatnot. So I wasn't too happy with him.
Okay. Well, I was actually debating having him as one of my first players.
Really?
Because I remember seeing a couple blocks that he threw that were key for some of Dalvin's pretty big gains. So it's all about the gains. You think if Dalvin, here's another stat that no one's really talking about, is so Dalvin averaged 5 point something yards per carry. He's got, I think, 5 touchdowns or something.
5.4
this year. So what really hurts running backs are goal line carries. Mm-hmm. You get the touchdowns for them, but you don't get many yards. So that average percentage is much lower than it should be if you don't, because you're lined up at the 1. What do all defenses know you're going to do? Run it. So they're going to stack the box. So you're more than likely either going to get, well, almost always, if you're rushing it, you're either going to get the touchdown, in which you have 1 carry for 1 yard. That hurts your total, your average per carry.
Right.
Or they stuff you because they're expecting run. Everyone does, and they stack the box, and you either get no gain or a loss. And Dalvin's, I think 4 or 5 of his touchdowns are just 1 or 2 yard carries. So
I wouldn't say
not
from this
including
game, no.
What's that?
Not from this last game.
Two of his carries were 1. 2 of his touchdowns were 1 yard touchdowns.
2 of them out of the 3? No way. He got 1 off of a long run for like 15.
One of them was a pass for 50 yards. One of them was a 21 yard walk into the end zone. I think the other 2 were 1 yard runs. You can look at the.
So I'm looking at the stats for some reason. Oh, because one of them was the catch. So he has had 3 rushing touchdowns.
Yep.
And then the other one was the pass. So.
But what I'm saying is for the whole season, I'm saying that hurts. I mean, he's playing at an elite level. I'd say if you don't factor those in, he's 6+ yards a carry, which is unbelievable in today's world, where everyone seems to be going the direction of the pass.
Okay, so Dalvin
Not
Cook.
many teams are totally dependent on running back. Even the Saints, with Drew Brees at the helm. Actually, Alvin Kamara is more of a pass catcher than he is a runner.
Right, but Dalvin Cook had 1 yard runs. 2 1 yard.
That's what I said.
I thought you said 3.
I said he had 3 touchdowns. I said 2. I was talking about for
touchdowns.
He had 3 rushing touchdowns.
Right.
2 of them were 1 yard runs. We recorded it. You can look back.
I'll think about it. I mean, but you.
That's actually the only reason we record this is to fact check ourselves, because Regan makes all kinds of claims, and we've got to. Okay, sorry. I was saying something really important. People needed to hear.
Yeah, but no one's going to hear it when you're standing that close to the microphone.
Sure.
You know what? You can leave. Well, but you could also just do it with Devontae Adams. Devontae Adams had 1
All right.
Both of his touchdowns came under 10 yards.
Let's do our next segment.
So this is a new segment.
Want to introduce it? Tell them what
this is a new segment. I'm really excited about this. This is something that I've been thinking about, and I'm really excited about. This is called reverse call-ins. So you know how people usually I'm going to open up for call-ins.
We don't have that luxury because we don't have phone lines. We just have our cell phones, and people don't really know we're doing this most of the time. We try to keep it a secret. So we're gonna flip the script.
Flip the script, and we're gonna call people that we know, and we're gonna give them a chance to speak their minds. People who we enjoy, and so.
All right.
First person up.
Let's just call a number.
Random person.
Yeah. Let's see who it is.
I
got a speaker.
I'm really nervous.
Yeah, me too. This is our first. This is the first. So it's
Riley.
Who am I speaking to?
Hey, this is Ronald Shaw Dvorak.
Oh, well, Ronald Sean, you are on the Dvorak Advanced Disposition of Sports. I'd like to ask you a couple questions. Is that all right?
Oh my goodness, am I being pranked right now?
No, this is the real deal.
You are live right now.
Okay.
You are speaking to Regan and Riley Dvorak. Have you heard of our show before?
You know, I've caught a couple episodes. You know.
Okay, of course.
I'm no
Most
super
people
fan,
have.
but let's just say I've heard of you guys before. All right.
Well, yeah, we're pretty big. I mean, we stay humble, but that's a common response that we get.
Yeah. All right. Calm down there. All right.
Yep. I'm not trying to, bruise anybody's egos over here.
All right. Calm down there. All right.
All right. So we gotta settle something. We got some questions for you, and we'd like to hear your thoughts on a few things. Do you got just a few minutes?
Sure. For you guys, I've got more than a few. I'd say 3.5.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow. Well, so we recently polled the Vikings fan base, and the question that was asked to them
It
is.
had to be a tremendous amount of work you guys did.
It was
I
literally.
don't know how you guys are even able to talk right now.
It literally involved me sending one text, but
Wow.
it was worth it. So,
Okay.
so the question that was asked was in Kirk Cousins' tenure with the Vikings, how many wins could be attributed to his good quarterback play, and how many losses could be attributed to his bad quarterback play? Now, the results of that poll were exactly on average. Again, this is the Vikings fan base. On average, people said one game could be attributed to the Vikings quarterback Kirk Cousins as a win that he caused the Vikings, and in losses, seven
Really?
losses attributed to Kirk Cousins. What do you feel about those stats?
I disagree.
Okay. Next question.
I think
So we've got another question then. We'd like you to maybe tell us a little bit how you're feeling about Dalvin Cook so far this season.
unstoppable.
Okay.
The guy's a maniac.
No, I agree.
You can't beat the
All right.
DC,
Next question. All right. So what do you think of the Mike Zimmer's defense?
Lackluster. It has to get better. I think it is. We saw some great improvements at that Green Bay game. Huge fan of that.
All right. Next question. All right.
So Sean,
Yes.
there is a theory out there that we've heard is fairly popular amongst Vikings fans, and that is that the Packers let us win
Okay.
on Sunday in order to prevent Mike Zimmer from being fired and us potentially getting a better coach that would actually potentially compete for or help the Vikings to compete for the division title. Are those claims true?
No, absolutely not.
No. Okay.
You want to explain why?
Yeah, well, that's a really short answer. Do you have?
Well, you've been
you wanna
rushing me through all my other
expound
answers.
on that? Well, it doesn't sound like you have much to say.
I've been trying. I've been trying to carry this show. Jeez. All right.
You know what? We're gonna have you. You know what? We're gonna have you come back on, and we'll talk to you later, there,
Yep.
Sean.
Yep.
Okay, sounds great. I'm glad you guys appreciate my.
Okay. Enough of that guy.
That was
Wow, that was bad.
the worst caller we've ever had.
The worst.
All
right.
Should we do another one?
Yeah.
Try to redeem it a little bit.
Do one more. I think that'll be enough.
All right. You want to take the lead on this one?
Yep. I don't think he'll. You know.
This is one of the most intense shows we've ever had.
Hey, you've reached Brian's voicemail. Sorry I missed your call, but if you leave your name and number, I can get back to you as soon as I can.
Wow.
Thanks. Have a
How
good day.
rude. A reverse calling and he doesn't even pick up.
Listen, hello, Brian. This is Regan and Riley on the D.A.D.S show. We were just calling just to see if you have any answers for us on some questions we have. But I see you are busy, and we will not call you back.
Yeah. Never again. He's out for the remainder of the show.
Well,
We
that
can't-
was interesting. I mean,
I can't believe that. Do we? Do you have any other thoughts? All right.
one more. You gotta.
Give it a shot.
You know, you'd think people would be up.
Wow. This is embarrassing. I'm sorry for people watching this.
This is a brand new thing. Reverse call-ins is you know, you never really think of these things. You'd think people would answer their phones.
I think this goes to show you the raw nature of our.
The mailbox is full and cannot accept any.
Oh my gosh!
Oh,
I'm
don't hang
done.
up. Hang up.
I'm done. All right, let's go to next. All right, looking forward next week.
So next week against the Detroit Lions.
Should we call Sean back? He talked. He talked at least.
Call one more. Let's get Sean Dvorak's thoughts on the next week's
All right,
week game.
let's maybe that'd be good. Yeah.
Hello.
Hello. Is this Sean?
Some have called me that before, yeah.
Oh. Well, Sean, you're on live on the Dvorak Advanced Disposition of Sports. You've heard of us before? Oh,
Yes.
we just talked to him. He
Yeah, I
knows.
think so.
Oh, okay. Sean, we are evaluating the Vikings' next matchup against the Lions. Can you give us your prediction? Win loss. What's the final score going to be?
Oh, man. Well, I gotta tell you guys, whenever the Vikings and the Lions play, it's hard for me to watch because they're my two favorite teams. I don't know who to root against, so I'm not going to give you any of that, but I do think it's going to be a great game. It's going to be nice to see the Vikings and AP get together again. It's always a special moment, so
Yeah.
I'm excited for that.
Who do you think has more rushing yards, Dalvin Cook or Adrian Peterson?
Are we talking all time? Are we talking this year? Are we talking last week? Obviously, it's Adrian Peterson.
Gotta be.
Yes.
Gotta be.
Sean, Regan Dvorak here. Just wanted to kind of reach out to you and tell you thank you for all your commitment that you've done for this team. Really appreciate you and all that you've done, and I'm a huge fan.
No.
First time caller.
Yep.
So this next game, Kirk Cousins. How do you think You think it's going to be? You think the Vikings are going to be more heavily involved in the run game, or possibly they're going to try to put more dependability on Kirk Cousins?
Well, let's just say Kirk Cousins is pretty good at selling himself. I don't think Kirk Cousins is going to be
Martha Stewart.
any better.
He's the Martha Stewart of football. Just saying that.
Let the man speak, Riley.
I'm sorry.
Why? Because he's been to prison? I don't think he's been to prison.
Nope, he's just good at making himself seem better than he is. Martha Stewart is a bucket of lies.
That's O.J. Simpson.
Oh, is that what I'm thinking of? Sorry,
Martha Stewart.
I get those mixed up.
Yeah. Yeah, you know what? I think here's a bold prediction. Kirk Cousins.
Bold prediction alert!
2 touchdowns.
How many?
275 and 2 touchdowns.
Wow, that is just about above average.
So ESPN has the Vikings at 233 yards for passing. So that's kind of around what you're predicting. So I wouldn't say it's too bold.
As I said, slightly above average.
Yeah. What about rushing now, Sean? What would you say rushing yardage?
The entire team, or what Kirk Cousins is going to rush?
ESPN's over-under for Vikings rushing yards is 1,200 rushing yards for Dalvin Cook. Do you think that's an overestimation or underestimation?
There's no possible way he's not going to get that number.
Gotcha.
You know, I'm taking the over on that all day long.
Yep.
Picking up in Vegas.
That's what I thought.
Yep. We'll take a bus there. We'll fly home. You know what I'm saying?
All right.
Well, Sean, I appreciate your insight. I hope to have you back on the show, and thanks for calling.
Yeah, you caught me at lunchtime. I've been just munching the whole time, but I bid you farewell, and I hope you do well in your polling.
I hope you do well in your munching.
Well,
that was a little more successful.
That was a lot more successful.
We got a lot of good information.
If people would answer their phone,
he answered. That's a huge plus.
We were We were 2 for 5, right? Or 4. 2 for 4. Our phone answers.
Yeah.
Half percent.
I like it.
I don't like it. It should be 75.
Half percent.
You were 50%.
50%. Yeah, that's better.
I was just thinking 0.5, but then I was like, you gotta move that period.
You gotta the decimal.
Decimal. All right, Riley. What are you thinking here?
I think so. This is at home against Detroit. You know, I think our defense is going to struggle. I think it's going to be, we're going to probably be able to impose our will a little bit more on offense, given the success we've had with Dalvin. I think we're going to continue some of that. I think it's going to be maybe a higher scoring game. I don't think the Vikings are going to struggle scoring. I don't think the Lions are either. I think we're going to lose it, though. I'm going to say 35 to 31.
Viking or Detroit?
Detroit.
Interesting. So here's a fun fact. I'm just going to spit out some facts. The Vikings are 0-3 at home this season.
Nice.
And the Detroit Lions are 3-1 away. Which means that the Detroit Lions have gotten all other wins away. And the Vikings have not. So I think the Detroit Lions are going to feel pretty good and everything like that, where the Vikings aren't going to feel as good and want that, and their hunger is going to be a lot more. I think the Vikings are going to end up on top this game. But I do think it's going to matter on also one player and one specific player, Kenny Golladay. If Kenny Golladay plays, I think it'll be a lot closer game. If he does not, yeah, he was injured last.
Okay.
And if Kenny Golladay does not play,
remember he walked all over us on Thanksgiving last year. Remember that? I was there with you.
So if he does not play, he's got a hip injury.
Oh.
So and he suffered that during
That'll
the Colts. So we'll see what happens with him. I don't think he will play. So that's why I also think that they're going to win. But even if he was playing, I think it will be a lot. It'll be closer. But I don't think he'll play, and I think it'll be kind of a good blowout game. I think it will depend a little bit more on Kirk this time, and we'll do more 50-50, but more depending more on the run game as we have last year. And so I think Vikings are going to take it away 35-21.
35-21. All right. We'll see who's right.
And we'll see who's wrong.
The one who's right gets the other one's kid.
But you have two.
Then you get my firstborn.
Sweet.
No, it's COVID.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for listening and watching, and hope to see you guys next time. Hopefully, maybe we'll call you next time.
Look out.